Last week, I promised our community that we'd work to provide information about critical incidents as soon as we could. Today, I'm here to do that. The purpose of this community briefing is to provide information regarding an officer-involved shooting that took place on the evening of March 5th, last night. I want to stress that this is a preliminary timeline of events. This is a very active investigation, and there could be minor changes to timelines and information as the investigation continues. Through an ongoing criminal investigations, officers found probable cause to arrest Curtis Haas, or Haas, 34, of Columbia for child molestation in the first degree. Here's a timeline of the events that took place during last night's incident. At 4:53 p.m., patrol requested assistance from the Street Crimes Unit. No contact had been made with Mr. Haas at this time. Patrol had requested the assistance because there was weapons information. 5:35 p.m., Street Crimes Unit arrives in the 1700 block of Sun Court. When they arrive, they see Haas attempting to leave in a vehicle. They tried to stop that vehicle and negotiate his surrender. Mr. Haas refused to cooperate and drove into the garage of a nearby home. After exiting his vehicle, he pointed a handgun at one of the officers and retreated back into the house. At 5:42, crisis negotiation team and the SWAT team were activated, and they responded with our Bearcat and the mobile command post. We also began to shut down traffic in the area. At 5:55 p.m., CPD began the process of clearing occupied cars and moving cars out of the area, as well as evacuating neighbors in the cul-de-sac. Nearby churches were also notified. 6:08 p.m., shots fired exchanged between the suspect from the upstairs window and the officers located outside of the house. Officers used department-issued .223 caliber rifles. The suspect had multiple firearms in the residence. During this time, CPD also began to hold perimeter and containment on the residence and continue the evacuation process. We were still attempting to make contact with Haas by phone and a PA system, and one officer did hear voices inside. 6:13 p.m., we requested mutual aid. We tried to get a drone from the county and a robot from our partners with MUPD and the fire department. 6:20, county and state assistance was requested for the outer perimeter. 6:39 p.m., contacted nearby churches again, and they went on lockdown. 7:20 p.m., breached the garage door of the residence with a Bearcat, but because of the configuration and the items in the garage, we were unable to gain entry with the robot through the garage. 7:35 p.m., a drone was used to go inside of the house and locate Haas. When the drone went inside, there was only a partial view, and all we could see was lower extremities, and we could not determine life status. 7:43 p.m., members of the Columbia SWAT team breached the front door. 7:51, the robot went in upstairs. When the robot went in, they determined that it was safer to do the entry. At 8:03, the high-risk entry was made by the SWAT team. And at 8:07, Haas was confirmed to be deceased by medics. There's also a large dog in the house that was secured with a catch pole and was put in a crate. At 8:21, the case was turned over to the Missouri State Highway Patrol and CPD Internal Affairs. Excuse me. As we've described in previous processes, those are two independent investigations. One looks at policies and actions in accordance with our policies, and the other looks at the investigation as a whole. An autopsy will be completed early next week, as well as interviews of the officers involved. It's really important to note that guns were staged all throughout the residence and furniture was barricaded against the door. It was clear that he was preparing for this. Three officers who were involved in the exchange of gunfire have been placed on administrative leave per our department's policy. The officers involved in this incident were veterans. One officer has more than 15 years of experience in law enforcement. A second has more than 10 years, and the last more than 25 years. When incidents like this occur, it affects not only the families of those killed or injured, but the families of the officers involved. I'm thankful for the work that our officers do each day to keep our community safe. We don't take for granted the weight that the use of deadly force brings to bear. We're grateful for the assistance of the Missouri State Highway Patrol and all of our partnering agencies.